Hi, welcome to class today. My name is Emily, and this is Tensegrity Flow Yoga. This is our level 2 class for the month, and we're going to start standing today. So go ahead and stand up and bring your feet just a little wider than hips width apart. So if you look down at your feet, you see them just slightly wider than hips. And rock forward and back a few times on your feet so that you can find a balanced place in the middle. We're going to go forward and back, and of course the knees are bent. And then as we drop our heels down and drop the toes down, we're going to find that perfectly even place between the forward and backward movement. So perfectly in center. Go ahead and begin to lengthen the spine. And then bring your hands onto your rib cage. And we're going to breathe in a way that changes the shape of the ribs. So breathe in and feel the ribs press out into your hands. And lift at the top, pause at the top, and then breathe out your mouth. And feel the ribs move away from the hands. And again, inhale through the nose. Ribs lift into the hands and up toward the sky. And exhale through the mouth. And ribs move away from the hands and slightly downward toward the floor. And do that a couple of times at your own speed. And see how much movement can you create in your rib cage. So can you get the ribs to evenly open and lift, and also around to the back. So these back body ribs, they also begin to lift and open. And we'll bring the hands down to the sides, but keep this action going in your rib cage. Inhale, both arms reach out high up into the sky. And then we'll do some seaweeds from right to left. So maybe you take your feet just a little bit wider. And as the arms reach over to the right, the hips will go to the left. And as the arms and shoulders reach to the left, the hips will go to the right. And just extend here, and maybe some little pulses with the arms so they contract as you transition, and then extend as you find the posture. So maybe even imagine like you're holding a ball over your head. And then we're going to draw it inward as we transition from one side and then extend it outward, like you're passing it off to someone as we find the extension portion of the posture. You can even close your eyes here. This idea being to really work into these side bodies, parts that become very collapsed and congested through our seating positions throughout the day, driving, computer work, watching the TV, using our devices. So we're working to balance here our body from our daily activities. Let's do one more extension. And then come back into center where we're extending it symmetrically with both arms up, both ribs rising up, pressing down into strong legs. And then exhale, let's do a nice long forward bend, keeping the spine fully extended. And bring your hand onto a block. So if you have a block, go ahead and use your block. And as the hand comes to the block, we'll extend the chest forward and then folding completely over top of the block. And maybe you shake your head yes and no here a few times. And just like we did while we were standing, when we rocked forward and rocked back, do that here. So not quite as big rocks or much movement, but some little movements forward to the balls of the feet and then back to the heels. And then again, we're going to find that perfect place between the two. So we'll let the heels rest down, but keep weight in the front of the feet so the arches can lift. And then come into your flat back position, extending heart, hips away from one another. Strong core, stepping back into a plank. So bending the knees, ground the hands, 1 foot at a time, steps back to plank. So your feet can be at hips width apart. They can be together. It's up to you. Drawing the legs strong here, firming through the front, sides, and back body of the core. Don't let your head drag. So keep the neck and head lifted. Strong arms pressing down. And then again, we're going to rock. So rock forward into the front of the hands, and then back to the back of the heel of the hands. So walk forward and then back. And then once more, find that perfect place in between. Really ground down into your fingers here. So utilizing the strength of your arms. Really gripping into the mat with the fingers, and notice how that firms up the arm muscles. Slight bend in the elbows. And then exhale, lower onto your belly. So one strong core movement to come down. Forehead to the floor. And then inhale, we'll roll up into Sphinx pose. Pressing into the forearms, pulling the mat back. Ribs move forward as we pull the mat isometrically with the arms and the forearms. Closing your eyes and finding 2 or 3 big Ujjayi breaths. Get the rib cage moving. Back body ribs extend and float. Moving space under the scapula, widening the collarbones. Should feel really, really good. And then exhale, release. As you release down, keep pulling your chest forward by pressing into the hands. Extend your arms out. Inhale the right arm and the left leg. So opposites are lifting. Try not to overwork the neck. So keep the head long, neck long. Release. Other side, left arm, right leg. Long neck. Exhale, release. One more on each side. Lift. Release and lift. And release. And now both are going to lift. So both arms, both legs, everything lifts up. Extending. And then holding up here. We're going to row the arms back. So drawing back just like you're swimming in a big pool of water. And notice as the arms and the shoulders come back, the chest can come forward more. So we can find more extension in the spine. Keep that extension and then exhale. Press your arms away. And then again, inhale, we'll row the arms back. Extend the heart. And then exhale, row the arms forward. One more, inhale back. Hold, lift. So long and lifted. And then exhale. Let's press. And come all the way down. Release. Hands come under the shoulders. Let's press back through our hands and knees. Child's pose. Hips slide to the heels. Chest reaches forward and then down. And then back to the hands and knees. And a couple of cat tilts here. So cat on the exhale, and then dog or cow tilt, whichever you call it, on the inhale. So exhale to cat. And inhaling into dog or cow. Let's breathe out the mouth a little whoosh. Out the mouth on the exhale, moving to cat, and then through the nose, inhaling into dog. And then last time, exhale through the mouth, and then inhaling into dog. Tuck the toes. Let's lift into downward facing dog. So first, press your ribs back towards your thighs so we get that long skier position. Downhill here, chest is long, hips are high, and then we can start to straighten out our legs, keeping the knees slightly bent here, and then we'll do big bends on one side and then the other. So pedaling the feet, and maybe even lifting up the whole foot and bending the opposite elbow. So as you pick up your left leg, you'll press the right shoulder down, and then picking up the right leg and pressing the left shoulder down. Of course, that's just an option. Just do what feels right in your body. You can also pedal with the feet, both of them on the ground. We're going to step the left foot in, one footprint, so one width of the footprint in, drawing the right knee in toward the chest, and then extend the leg to the sky, 3-point dog. Exhaling into cheetah, hugging tight here. So really pressing the floor away as we draw the chest and the knee together. And then inhale, extend, reaching the hips up first, and then extend the leg. And then drawing the knee in first, then through the hip, and then the chest comes forward over the hands to cheetah. So doing things in that order will help keep you lifted and high away from the floor, preparing for the step through. Let's do it one more time. So first the knee, then the hip, then you come forward, and then extend the leg up again, 3-point. And then let's use that action to step us forward between the hands. And see if that doesn't get you there a little bit easier than if you bring your knee in first or move the chest first and then the knee. So it's all about getting your parts moving in the proper order. So we're in the high lunge pose. Let's inhale, arms come up to the sky. Lift, sink the hips down. As we lift the heel, the hips descend toward the floor. Big, tall, lifted runner's pose. And then we're going to slide forward into grounded warrior 3. So bring your hands back to your chest, maybe even to blocks here. So here's a really good place for blocks as you place your hands and then lift the back leg up. So either one. You can also use the floor. But if you use the floor and it causes your spine to round, then it's really important that you use the blocks. So the spine has to remain extended in order to hold the tensegrity elements in the body. So remember, we want everything working in a balanced, even, concentric squeeze. Breathe. 2 internally rotating thigh bones. Slight externally rotating shin bones. And then if your balance allows, you can bring your hands onto your hips. Maybe then reach the arms back toward the foot so the chest then extends even further forward here. Firm the glutes, both legs firm and acting. So not just the base leg, but both legs are players. And then let's take the arms wide to the side like airplane wings. And then come in and extend the arms overhead like Superman. Stay breathing, big, big breaths. And then we'll release by squeezing the knee in toward the chest, drawing the knee in, capture behind your thigh, and extend the leg out into a leg extension. And as we breathe here, we're holding, and then we'll release, hug the knee in. So standing psoas, opening. And then release. So go ahead and bring the foot down. Switch your legs out. So we're going to ground the left leg and pick the right leg up into bird pose. So what makes bird pose different than warrior 3 are the bent knees. So clasp your hands together and place them on your base leg. Press the hands down into the leg to give your ribs something to lift with. Breathe here. Imagine the lifted leg is pressing into a wall. Maybe even touch the glutes. Feel that the legs both are firm and acting. Give the glutes something to press into with your hands. And you can kind of trade back and forth. One hand on the glute, one hand on the thigh. Use pull-up bar arms. And then we'll switch this leg again. So hug the knee in. So we get the psoas opening on the opposite side. Extend the leg. Breathe. And then release, knee in and back down to the floor. Good job. Let's take the arms up and we'll do our side body extensions again. So this seaweed, arms can be at shoulder height, shoulder width again if you want, or if you want to take it a little further. Now this time you can hold on to your wrist and you're pressing and switch and press the other side. Breathe so deeply that your ribs move. They've got to move like fish gills. All right, now let's come back up. Both arms reach to the sky. Exhale, forward fold, chest over top of the legs. Back into our forward bending position. Let's come to our flat back. Inhale, neck is long. Still looking to the floor, maybe even touch the belly, the sides and the back. See that they're all three working in a balanced way. Your spine is not over round and your belly short. Balance. Exhale, fold over the chest. Let's step again back into plank. Step back with the other foot. So the foot that feels awkward to step with, step back with it. And here we are back into our plank pose, breathing, holding. We'll do side plank. So step your left hand in underneath of the shoulder, pivot, side plank. If this feels really challenging, then you can bring your front foot out in front for side plank, or even your bottom foot underneath for side plank. Breathe. Neck long, not dropped. So it's going to drag your whole spine down if you drop your head and your neck. All right, release. Let's do the other side. So right hand steps underneath of the right shoulder, pivot, turn, strong core. So the whole body is participating, not just your right arm. Imagine that the top arm has something to push against. Maybe imagine an imaginary wall, or if you're close enough to the wall, you can actually push the hand into the wall. Firm the glutes. Exhale, release. Bring your hand back down underneath of your shoulders. And let's reground our fingertips. Slightly bend the elbows. Slightly pike the hips. Exhale, down to the floor. One movement, chest and hips touch at the same time. Down to the floor, roll the shoulders back as we lift into a sphinx or a cobra or an up dog. It's up to you. Pressing down into your hands or the forearms if they're on the mat. Pull that mat back, tractioning the spine long. Breathe. And then release. As we come down, we pull the mat back so the spine gets longer the whole way down. Extend the arms out. Inhale, exhaling, lifting all of the limbs up, arms up, legs up. Now, you'll either stay here and just be in this posture, or we might bend the right knee, find the foot to the ankle, the hand to the ankle, and then lift. One-legged bow. Long neck. So don't overwork your neck. Don't strain the neck. Lift and then release. Reach. Getting super strong here on the backside body, but the front side is also working. All right, let's reach back. Find the other ankle. Inhale. Exhale. Lift. Breathe. Strong and supple. And then extend, both extend apart. And then relax. Let's come down, let your head rest. Bend the knees and we'll windshield wiper the shins from right to left sides. And then we'll bring the legs, return them onto the floor. And as we come down to the floor, hands under the shoulders, pressing the hips back. As your hips move back, resist your chest forward so you feel a little tug of war. As we move back into child's pose, so it feels nice along those connective tissues on the spine. And then return to hands and knees. Cat, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. Two more, exhaling, cat. Out the mouth. Inhale. Last time, exhale. Inhaling into cow. And then tuck your toes up to downward facing dog. Hips slide back to the sky. Chest is long. Step your right foot in one width of the footprint. In, and then hug the knee into the chest. Extend your leg into 3-point. Nice tall leg. And now we're going into cheetah. We go first, knee bends, then rotate from your hip, and then come forward, chest over the shoulders. And then back, so the chest goes out, then the hip, and then extend the leg. Train your body to do things in that operation, hip and then chest. Even the knee goes slightly out to the side to make room for your pelvis. If you come in too narrow, it makes things really congested in the hips and the belly. So taking things a bit wider can really get you a long way. So let's do it one more time. So here we are. We're going to come through and then finally step forward into that high lunge. So as you find your high lunge position, maybe even bringing your hands to blocks, strong chest, strong legs. Inhale into full runner pose, Lord of the Wind. Extend, lifting the heel as you descend the hips. Breath. And then we're preparing into that warrior three, grounded warrior three. So the chest comes forward, reach so long, then place the hands down, maybe even onto blocks. Bring the knee in and then extend the leg back into your warrior three. Chest extending. So either maybe check in with a mirror or just touch your parts. And see that the belly isn't short and the spine is not over round or over long, but both parts evenly extending. Breath. Internally rotate the thigh bones, externally rotate the shin bones. So you put a spin on the posture. So you're kind of fine-tuning the engagement in your connective tissues and your myofascia. Breathe. All right, and then we're going to bring the hands to the hips and touch. Feel the glutes working, the legs strong. Extend the arms, reach them back toward the wall behind you. That kind of frees up the neck. And then in, and then extend out like airplane wings. And then in and extend forward like Superman, Superwoman. Breathe. And then in, and then to release, we're going to hug the knee into the chest, coming into standing. Extend the leg forward. Keep the spine super tall. All right, and then we'll release this side. So hug the knee in, release your leg down. We're going to switch sides going into bird. So ground into your right leg, slowly drag your left leg to lift it up. So that means you're going to push the foot down, drag it back like you're pressing the foot into sand, and then resist the leg as you lift it into the air. Clasp the hands. We're going to bend the knee. Press the hands down into the top of the thigh, lifting the chest away. Groins are hollow on both sides. And then I'm going to test both sides. So one hand is to the leg, one is onto the glute. Feeling that, parts are all working balanced. Breath. And then I'm going to bring my hands up into pull-up bar arms. Using my arms to support the legs. Big breathing. And then release into psoas stretch on this side. So hug the knee in, clasp. Extend the leg one more time. The knee doesn't have to go straight. In fact, you can keep your knee very, very bent in order to keep the spine erect. Breathe. And then knee comes in and then the foot goes down. Good job. Good. So that's a fun little set. Let's take our feet very wide. And as we go wide, we're going to do side squats on each side. So we'll bend the left knee, bring your hands down. And of course, like a broken record, extending the spine, so no rounding here. That means if you prefer a block or it's needed to use a block, or even if it's not needed to use a block, using a block will help you feel things differently. Like I often prefer a block. All right, let's go over to the other side. You keep the right knee wide in line with the toes. All right, now I'm going to switch directions just to give you a different angle, and we'll go over to the other side again so you can see how long the spine is. Maybe even hover the heel of your bent knee so you can drop that hip down a bit lower. Hips will go back further. And then over, last time to the other side. As you transition, lift the heel, settle the hips down and back, the ribs forward. And try not to drag your ribs collapse to the ground, but keep them, firmed. And then come back. Let's go into a wide forward fold. So here we are in Prasarita Padottanasana, hand to the block. And maybe you can bring the head onto the block. And placing the head onto the block, even the highway, the tall block setting. And if you can press the head there, you'll find that can create a release all through this backside. It's kind of amazing how that happens. By engaging and taking some of the weight out of the legs by distributing it into the upper body through the block. And release the whole back side of the legs. Really nice. And we're breathing. And then we'll bring our hands to our hips with that strong spine. Come all the way up into a standing upright position. And let's heel toe the feet in. Heel toe. And coming back onto the mat. So go ahead and come facing your short side again. Let's lift the arms up, extend, and then exhale, fold. Again, over the legs, and let's bend the knees deeply here. And as the knees bend, they're gonna make their way up onto your tricep area. And you can either stay here with the feet down, or maybe the weight, if it comes forward enough, your feet will actually float on their own off of the mat. Keep the neck long. Place some weight forward into the front of your hand so it's not all into the heel of the hands. Around the fingers to access the muscles in your arms a little more effectively. And keep touching down and lifting off. And then release. Let's come down. We're in Hindi squat. So we did this on our first video, but let's go ahead and do it on the second one too. It feels so good. So we'll bring the knee down into a half squat, extending the right side. Breathe. Over to the other side. Bring the right leg down, lift knee. Lift it and breathe. And then we'll do one more time, and go ahead and let's give a bird of paradise option here. So if you're working on bird of paradise, so you can either stay here, right here in this posture, or if you're working on bird of paradise, this is where you'll find the grip of your, it would be your right arm. So I'm not mirroring you right now. It would be the right arm under the right thigh. So you want to get it more toward the knee, less toward the groin area. And see if you can bring some weight into the base leg and stand. My floor is low. There we go. And then you can take the leg up if you want. Anywhere in between. And not all floors are level. So if you find that your floor isn't level, you might have some extra work to do. And then we'll bend. And we can release. Okay, and then release the side, and we'll switch. So if you're just doing the the step one posture, the side squat. Here you'll stay here. Or for the days you want bird of paradise, this is where you'll take your left shoulder way up underneath that left thigh, clasping the hands behind the back. So my hands are clasped, just my fist is holding on to my fingers is actually how I have my grip. Maybe you can find the full hand grip, but I'm lucky if I find my fingers. And then we'll let weight come into the right leg. Try not to jerk on your shoulder as you stand. Try to stand in one smooth movement, standing up, keeping the hands more toward the knee side of your legs and less toward the center groin area, so less between the legs. Maybe then they extend. Strong right leg on the ground, left leg pressing into the arms. Arms are pressing into the leg. Breathe. And then we can release. And slowly as we come down. And slowly we'll release into a middle Hindi squat. So we can meet here. And then we'll come all the way down onto the floor. So as we come down onto our mat, let's go ahead and we'll bring the right leg so that the right foot is by your left hip, and then step your left foot over top. So the left foot is flat. The knee is facing the sky. Hands onto the knee, extend the heart. And then on the exhale, we'll rotate through the spine first, and then the neck last as we find the full twist. Breathing. And release. And we'll do the other side. Just kind of swing the legs over to the other. So your left foot is coming by your right hip. Your right foot is coming around to the floor flat. And if the knee feels like it's getting too much pressure on the bottom, you can bring a block or a blanket or something for support there. That can be really helpful. Inhale. And as you exhale, we'll twist toward the other side. So you're twisting in the direction of your top leg. The leg that's on top will give you the guidance of which direction to turn. Breathe and twist. And to finish off the twist, you'll look back over the shoulder. So the neck is always the last part of the twist. And release. And then again, we'll spin the legs open. And this time we're going to go into a wide straddle, into seated straddle position, Upavista Konasana. So extending through the chest. And if it's troublesome to sit like this, then maybe you roll up a blanket and sit on the edge of a blanket so you can maintain your anterior tipping pelvis. Inhale. And it might be enough just to sit here, and or maybe you start to bring your chest forward on your palms. You can also go to elbows, either on a block or on the floor. Try not to drag your head. Stay long. Breathe in a way that creates some change. You don't have to go very deep into this one to really feel a lot. Big breath. Let's take 2 more breaths. Last breath. And on our exhale, we'll come back up into a seat. Bring the legs together. And let's roll onto our back. Oh, but before we do, let's do a boat real quick. So can't forget our boat for the month. Lifting up into Navasana. Maybe the feet more in the legs, more like hips width apart. Maybe you press the hands and the legs together. This will help you access your abdominal muscles a little more easily. Makes the legs a little more manageable to hold in the lifted position. And then extend the arms, breathing. And then bringing the feet down, and we'll roll onto the back. And as we do that, let's hug the right knee in, extending the left leg. Switching sides, extend. And then let's bring both knees in. And then let's take both of our legs up to the sky into a shoulder stand. So we're going to press into the stop sign arms. Take the feet toward behind your head. And you can pause here and to a plow pose, halasana, if you would like. Or we'll take the legs overhead. And you can do the half shoulder stand with the hands and the hips. Or maybe you're working up into full shoulder stand. You could also play around with a headstand or legs up the wall pose. Any inversion will do. So holding the inversion, strong from toes to fingers. All the parts engaged, active. And we can move the feet and then back into plow. So feet shooting over the head. The feet at hips width will make it a little more accessible. Pressing the heels out and away from the back of your thighs. And then rolling a vertebra at a time onto the back. And as we release onto our back, let's take the knees wide into reclined Baddha Konasana. And while we're there, we'll take our hands and gently massage the neck. So as we're doing that, we're working into that cervical curve. So the fingers, the flat parts of the fingers, so not the fingertips, but the flat parts of the fingers, working on each side of your spine there. So not right on the vertebral column itself, but right there on the edges, on the soft tissue. And maybe even work out a little bit wider, just kind of hitting down into the muscles around the upper neck and the lower neck. And then we'll bring the knees in. And let's cross right over the left. And then the knees go over to the left. And if that feels like it's too big of a twist, then you can untwist the legs and just take the knees to the left. Either is okay. Another option is to keep the legs with the twist and let them rest on a block. That would be fine too. And the other side. So I'll bring the knees in and undo the legs. Switch your block if you need to. And then on the exhale, knees will go to the other side. And then release back into center. Undo the legs. And then we'll extend one leg at a time and resting into Shavasana. Bringing the arms out. Find adjustments so that you can rest comfortably. Unclenching the jaw. Unclenching the eyes. Let that softness soak down through the rest of your body as you unclench your shoulders, your hips, the legs, all the way down to your feet. Focusing all of your attention on your body, on your breathing. And if you find your mind wandering, just simply bring your attention back. Continue to redirect your attention back to your breath and your body. It's very simple. You can stay here for as long as you like. And when you're ready to finish your practice, you can just slowly move the fingers and toes. And you roll over onto your side. And then return into a seat. And bring your hands to your heart. And close by bowing to yourself to honor yourself and honor your practice. Namaste.